Right now, the National Weather Desk tracking Rafael. The major hurricane strikes Cuba and now enters the Gulf of Mexico.
Pretty impressive little system here, but it is just going to drift to the west.
But that's where it will encounter wind shear, which could tear it apart.
When you have that change in direction, it doesn't bode well for the structure of a tropical system.
Wicked winds whip up flames across Southern California, forcing thousands out of their homes.
These aren't one of those fires where you can wait.
Where have all the birds gone?
Bird populations have dropped by around 3 billion birds.
And we revisit the story of the Donner Party and the storm that led to its demise.
And we're talking feet and feet of snow.
And the penguin who went looking for food, but ended up thousands of miles away from home.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Fierce Santa Ana winds are fueling massive wildfires north of Los Angeles. The mountain fire started yesterday morning and quickly spread to more than 14,000 acres by nightfall. Thousands of people in Ventura County are evacuating as the flames destroy homes and other buildings. Some homeowners chose to stay behind. They used garden hoses to keep their property wet and fight off flying embers in the 60 to 80 mile per hour winds.
Evacuation orders in place right here?
Yes.
But you decided to stay behind?
Yeah, my wife's not happy about it.
Gotta protect the property though.
It's all right. We have everything packed and parked across the street.
And as of this morning, the fire is 0% contained. Amy Kiley has more from Southern California.
Multiple people are hurt as rapidly growing wildfires burn and threaten homes outside Los Angeles. Forecasters say powerful winds and dry conditions are creating a particularly dangerous situation.
When you get an evac order from the sheriff, leave. These aren't one of those fires where you can wait and predict and maybe stay home.
The Broad Fire is in Malibu, a coastal suburb of LA.
It's burning over the bluff and it's heading towards the homes.
Officials say the bigger concern is the mountain fire in nearby Ventura County.
Every helicopter, every fixed-wing aircraft, everything we've been able to get a hold of is here fighting this fire.
The fire department says the blaze has sent several people to the hospital.
We're burning.
Dude,
right
look
here.
At you. Your shirt is singed.
Dozens of houses appear burned in its wake.
Sadness, devastation.
These men are pointing at homes they helped save.
Shovels and garden hoses, believe it or not. We had no pressure.
Officials say remaining near a fire like that is dangerous. They say thousands of people are under evacuation orders.
Your homes can be replaced. Your lives can't. Leave.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And Rafael is now a Category 2 hurricane with maximum winds of 105 miles per hour. It made landfall in Cuba yesterday as a Category 3 storm. It's the 5th major hurricane of the year and the strongest Atlantic storm this late in the year since 2020. Meteorologists Chad Sandwell and Jennifer Collins are tracking Rafael and a second area of interest for us this morning.
Pretty impressive little system here, but it is just going to drift to the west and kind of spin before it eventually weakens due to wind shear interacting with it. You can see here it's a Category 2 storm eventually becoming a tropical storm and eventually kind of fizzling out into the Bay of Campeche probably by early next week. So let's take a look at the wind shear. Of course, that is certainly going to be the big impact here. All this shear to the north will keep the storm to the south, so it really doesn't have much of an impact here at all.
And then we're monitoring this tropical wave here just to the north of the Leeward Islands. This will eventually move its way towards the Bahamas, the southeast Bahamas, over the next couple of days, where some tropical development is possible. Right now, it has about a 30% chance over the next 7 days.
And as Chad mentioned, Rafael will likely lose strength in the Gulf thanks to wind shear. Birmingham meteorologist Evan Chikvera helps us better understand the impact of this weather phenomenon.
Wind shear. What is that? Is it good? Is it bad? It depends on what we're talking about. Wind shear is a change in wind speed or direction over height. It's good for discrete thunderstorms that are by themselves, maintaining updrafts, tornado formation, and even getting hail cores. Bad for tropical systems. They disrupt the vertical structure of hurricanes and tropical storms, usually act to weaken it. Sometimes a well-defined hurricane can overcome that, but this is essentially how it works. You got winds coming in the upper levels at one direction. Well, then they're at the lower levels and mid-levels in another direction. A hurricane forms vertically, very uniform. So when you have that change in direction, it doesn't bode well for the structure of a tropical system. And so this is what you end up getting. The top of the storm is pushed in one direction, while the bottom in the other, and now the inflow into the storm is disrupted as well, and it generally leads to a weakening. We expect this to happen with Rafael as we head into the latter part of the week, which is certainly good news for folks along the coast. We'll be following this very closely over the next couple of days.
Rafael is the 11th hurricane of the 2024 season. That doesn't happen very often. It's just the fourth time this century we have had at least that many hurricanes. This also happened at least 5 times from 1887 through 1995. The record for most hurricanes in 1 year is 15, which happened back in 2005. The Climate Prediction Center released its latest short-term outlook on Tuesday. When it comes to temperatures, much of the eastern half of the country has a very good chance of being above average next week. The Rockies and West are likely looking at below average temperatures. As for precipitation, most of the country has a good chance of seeing more rain and snow than usual. The only exceptions are 2 areas that have been very dry, the Northeast and also the Southwest. Climate scientists warn that a Trump presidency threatens global efforts to protect the environment. The president-elect calls the climate crisis a scam. He promises to ramp up fossil fuel production, peel back President Biden's regulations on emissions, and pull out of the Paris Climate Accord. But analysts argue it will be tough for Trump to stop the transition to green energy. He may just slow it down. Clean energy projects will be nearly impossible to repeal since most Republican states support them, and the climate might not be Trump's top priority either. Meantime, this year is shaping up to be the hottest year on record. According to Europe's climate service, it is virtually certain that global temperatures will be more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Scientists have warned that at that level, the climate crisis begins to exceed the ability of humans and also nature to adapt. Well, you don't have to tell people in Maine it's been a hot year. Portland shattered its record high temperature yesterday. It was so warm, people even swam in the ocean. As meteorologist Ryan Munn shows us, that's very unusual for November.
Tell me, how was the swim?
It was delicious. It was a great swim. It was wonderful, very refreshing.
Can't argue that it feels nice. Like it's, we just went for a swim on a November day and are really comfortable right now in shorts and t-shirt.
The high temperature in Portland climbed to 79 degrees, which broke the record of 71 that was set back in 2020. And this brought Alex Abbott, who's a windsurfer, to the Eastern Promenade.
The water felt great. We're both wearing wetsuits. I've still got my wetsuit on, and that keeps me pretty warm, but the water is really starting to cool off. Very distinctly different than the sky and the air today.
Good news from Asheville, North Carolina region as the lean recovery continues. An 11-mile section of the famed Blue Ridge Parkway reopened on Wednesday. It follows a massive effort to clear away trees and debris that was simply left behind by the storm, enough to fill 150 shipping containers. And now let's check to see the weather and seas across the country. We start on Gunstock Mountain in Gulford, New Hampshire. That's on the shore of Lake Winnipesaukee, which you can see in the distance. It will be a nice fall day today with partly cloudy skies and a high of 58 degrees. And you're looking at right here, Louisville, Kentucky, far from across the Ohio River in Jeffersonville, Ohio. Louisville will see partly cloudy skies today with a high of 65 degrees. Unfortunately, it's looking like a wet weekend. And this right here is Odessa and West Texas. Folks here are looking at scattered showers today with a high of 65 degrees. It will be warmer starting on Sunday, and there's plenty of snow on the ground at Oregon's Mount Hood as well. Today it will be mostly sunny with a high of 36 degrees. More snow is in the forecast as well next week. An unusual guest appeared on Western Australia Beach. The emperor penguin swam thousands of miles from his home in Antarctica. One expert says the animal may have followed a current north to find different types of food. A witness who saw it coming out of the water says it waddled up to the beach. The penguin then slid on its belly, likely thinking it was snow, and face planted before standing back up and shaking off all that sand. The emperor penguins are only found in Antarctica. They are increasingly threatened, though, by climate change. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll learn about the declining bird population in the U.S. and what you can do to help them recover.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. It's not quite as warm as yesterday, but it's another mild day in the Northeast. Look at this. Temps are in the 60s to near 70 degrees with a partly sunny sky. That's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a nice looking Thursday. As we head into Friday, there's a second front that moves through. You see it right in there. Our best chance for showers will be in the mountains and into northern parts of New York. That's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The wind is going to pick up and cooler air will follow. Temps will struggle to get out of the upper 40s by Saturday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javeli. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. A front passed through the south, so on your Thursday, we begin with some clouds in the area and even a shower possible towards around midday and early afternoon. After that, some cooler air is going to flow in. We will be drying out, and we will see sunshine for your Friday, but temperatures will start to cool down. Highs for your Thursday could still reach the 70s, even close to 80 degrees in some spots, but the cooler air will move in, so by Friday, we're dropping to the 60s for highs.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. We're seeing Birmingham a little warm at 82 degrees compared to Atlanta, 75, 77 Charleston, 87 Tampa. We can see there's spotty showers, a little bit of cloud cover over parts of the southeast. Going to continue to track Rafael as it continues to move across the Gulf away from the United States as of now, but then it may be taking a turn and affecting parts of the Texas and Louisiana coastline. We'll watch that very closely.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Now you see them, lights on one of the Mackinac Bridge towers in Michigan. Now you don't, as fog descends and cloaks it on a dreary November night. But this fog graces the morning in Missouri, while pinks and purples put on a show to start the day in Myrtle Beach. And bask in this lovely fall glory from the Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
It was right about this time of the year in 1846 when the now infamous Donner Reed Party got trapped in the Sierra Nevadas mountains. Emily Gracie spoke to Matt Monroe from our Reno station about the weather conditions in that part of the country during early November to get a better idea of what this group experienced on that ill-fated journey.
They started off in Illinois. They wanted the dream of settling in the Oregon Territory, which is, of course, California. So they had to go all the way from Illinois, cross the Rocky Mountains, cross the Sierra Nevada, and get into California before the winter snows hit. And a normal trip like that took 4 to 6 months and about 15 miles a day. So they were kind of crawling across America in sometimes uncharted and very hostile territory as well. So there's a lot of danger involved in the trip too.
So you're in Reno, you're kind of an expert as far as the weather locally there. They made it as far as your area late October. So right about this time of year.
Yeah.
What went wrong? What happened at that point?
They decided to take a route called the Hastings Cutoff, which was supposed to cut off time. Instead, it added 18 days to their journey. It was very hard crossing the desert there of Utah. They got to the border of Utah and Nevada, and they rested for 5 days. They were exhausted, and they gambled a little bit that the snow wouldn't happen until mid-November, and they'd be up and over the pass. And they got so close, within about 3 miles of the summit, and then the huge snow started to come down. And we're talking feet and feet of snow.
That's when things got really dark, right?
That's when, of course, they're running out of food and, reports of cannibalism. They were boiling boiling their shoes, eating straps of leather from the oxen. Of course, they ate the oxen dew. They ate everything they could.
Some of them did make it out to tell the tale. There were some survivors that
Not
made it to the
everybody died.
destination.
And again, the rescue party did come, and they were eating everything they could just to kind of buy time. Think of the Donner Party with oxen and women and children and men and covered wagons on rocky dirt trails, no plows, no nothing, running out of food in the elements. It's just crazy to think that even 45 people survive that. That's really the amazing part, that 45 people actually survive that.
In the last 50 years, the North American bird population is down by 3 billion. That's billion with a B. Meteorologist Trevor Robideau takes a look at the causes and if this trend can actually be stopped.
Birds are all around us. We feed them, we photograph them, and we admire their beauty. But biologists and scientists alike are concerned about their thinning numbers in the past few decades.
Research has shown that bird populations have dropped by around 3 billion birds. So they estimate that in 1970, the bird population for North America had 3 billion more birds.
And Griffith says the decline is for a variety of different reasons, but loss of habitat is the largest factor.
Fragmentation is where you have a large piece of habitat or different population areas that are connected, so the birds can move between them or to better habitat and so forth. And these movement corridors or habitats get fragmented to where they could be too small to hold a viable population of birds.
And studies have shown there is another reason birds are dying off in large numbers: building collisions.
A lot of birds will migrate at night, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but you got a lot of these big buildings that are lit up bright. You'd think, well, the birds can see them and go around, but apparently it confuses them. It attracts them into urban areas, and then they're more likely to hit buildings.
Griffith says there is a very simple way to reduce this threat to birds.
Turning lights down or most of the lights off during the spring and fall migrations can, I think they said up to 60% of the bird collisions can be avoided. So just simple practices like that, and then maybe it saves some energy too if less lights on.
Winter is just around the corner. Now is a good time to share some tips on getting ready for the cold weather. Here's meteorologist Christina Ernie.
Did you know that out of all weather events, cold weather is one of the leading causes of death? So how do we stay prepared for cold weather when it approaches and when it hits? Whether you plan on driving or traveling during a storm or not, make sure that your car is fully gassed up and that you have a survival kit inside, including blankets, a flashlight, tons of extra layers, and an ice scraper, a shovel, and kitty litter for traction. If you have a home, my biggest tip for you is maintenance. Make sure that you're getting your chimney or flue checked and cleaned every year. Also, when it comes to generators, make sure that they're at quite a distance away from your house. And finally, make sure that all of your pipes are well insulated so you don't have to worry about those freezing. All of that stuff is really important, but what about the people inside of your house? Make sure that any important medicines for you or even your pets are in a to-go bag, just in case you have to evacuate, and make sure all of your devices are charged up as well. Make sure that you have a stock of food that is non-perishable, and make sure even if you go outside for a few minutes, you dress warmer than you think you need to.
And the colder winter months could mean a spike in your electric costs, but how much does the weather really impact those bills? Meteorologist Violet Skyborg breaks it down.
Electric bills can be pricey, and the temperature outside can make a big difference in the amount that you pay. Let's look at a typical electric bill. The first quarter is usually from things like the dishwasher, TV, oven, lights, dryer, and fridge. Although the oven section might be a little bit larger, especially in New York State, where gas stoves and ovens are now being banned. So they're putting electric ovens in place now, and that may add a little bit more to your bill. Looking at the larger chunks here, though, your water heater takes a big chunk of your bill, but the largest chunk is actually from heating and cooling, which is why the temperature outside plays a big role in your bill. and also a big chunk from everything else, depending on what else you use your electric for. Looking at the temperature, though, energy consumption versus air temperature. Right when we're around room temperature, between 60 to 70, is when we use the less electric to heat or cool your home. The hotter it gets, obviously more AC you have to use. Cooler it gets, the more heating you have to use. A good tip, though, is that on warm days, right before a cool down, open up your windows and let your house heat up a little bit before that cooler period so that you can save a little bit of money on your heating bill. I hope this helps.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over a herd of horses in the endless steppes of Mongolia.
Well, good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Pretty quiet weather across the Midwest for the day today. We are looking at cool temperatures with highs in the 50s and 60s, and most of the Midwest staying dry for the day today. As we continue on into the day tomorrow, we've got some rain starting to move its way into the Southwest plains, and the rest of the Midwest pretty quiet. That rain continues to spread its way to the north and east as we head through your Saturday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're starting out really cool from Amarillo, back on up into areas of Oklahoma City, back over to Midland and down into El Paso. Warm and humid down to the south. Warm front comes up. Bigger storms expected out here to the west with a front pushing down to the south. Otherwise, temperatures are going to be on the warm side down to the south, cooler and drier to the north. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, things are quieting down over the Rockies and trying to warm back up. Denver at 37 today. We've had some snow in some of the high country of Colorado and New Mexico. This system continues to push into the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. Meanwhile, it's high pressure building in over California, giving us a round of Diablo and Santa Ana winds and high fire danger for the Golden State. And that's the scene from here.
The National Weather Desk.
It's the time of year when some places start to see the first frost of the season. But did you know that frost can form even when temperatures are above freezing? Meteorologist Lindsay Storrs explains how.
This is the time of year when frost can begin to form in the mornings on grass, on cars, on pumpkins, and other objects that are outside. Usually frost forms when temperatures are below 32 degrees, but have you ever seen it form when temperatures are slightly above the freezing mark of 32 degrees? It can happen, and here's why. Let's say the air temperature is 36 degrees. That temperature is measured about 5 feet above the ground. But cold air sinks, which means the ground temp may be 32 degrees or maybe even lower, which means objects near the ground can freeze. When water molecules in the air touch those frozen surfaces, they freeze and form ice crystals, or what we call frost. You're most likely to see frost form when you have clear skies, light winds, a little moisture both in the air and on the ground, and temperatures in the 30s. So the next time frost forms and the temperature's not quite down to 32 degrees, you'll know why.
For more great weather content, be sure to check us out on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk on your favorite social media platform. So much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.